everyone. Welcome to another edition of or episode of Ask the Drummer. It's Sunday and it's a very, very cold Sunday here in Stockport. It was been snowing and like really heavy snow. I hope the weather wherever you are is so like warmer than here. But although I do love snow, but yeah. Well, it's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK. Um, so it's time for another episode of Ask the Drummer. And this week, my guest is in a band that I happened to see at Shine On in Minehead a couple of weeks ago. And they were just so amazing. I'm really glad that he said yes to appearing on Ask the Drummer. My dear friends, please welcome Alex Fyans of the Waltones. Yay! Did I
Hi
say
there.
one thing I forgot is did I say your surname correct?
Anna,
Was it?
you're from Manila, is that right?
That's right.
That's right. And you got my name absolutely perfectly.
Oh,
Oh,
yay!
well done. I get plenty of people who live around the corner who get it wrong. So
Oh my God, that's so good. Thank you. Right, so how are you? How are you, Alex?
I'm fine. Thank you. Like you say, it's a bit snowy and wintry. It's almost like a Christmas wonderland.
Yeah, yeah. We don't get it at Christmas though. It's like we
No, it'll
always
be
get
gone
it
by then.
like other times of the year, but not on Christmas Day, which we want to sort of like have it on Christmas Day. The last time I saw you was at Shine On,
That's
like
right.
I mentioned earlier. It was so good. Did you actually stay the whole weekend?
No, we weren't invited for the whole weekend. We were
Oh,
only invited for the Saturday. So we arrived Saturday afternoon. Uh,
yeah.
Drove down Saturday morning, um, played Saturday night, and left Sunday morning. Really, drove back to Manchester, but
Oh
it was a
no.
good laugh. It was nice to be
Yeah.
on the road again with the boys.
Yeah, did you enjoy it?
Yeah,
Did everybody enjoy it and stuff? Because
yeah.
yeah, their performance is just so good, and I was sort of like, look, I think James was really enjoying it, and I could tell from his sort of like smiles, and he's so happy. Like,
I think James was on fire
yeah,
on that night. I thought he was like you say, he was really enjoying it, and that always comes across in the performance when James is enjoying it.
yeah. Let me just say hello to our friends who joined us. Mars Ifson, he said, "Good evening, guys," and also my BFF in Manila, Gilbert. He said, "Hi, Alex," and "Hi, Anna." Both
I
of
get
them
it.
are, yeah, both of them are watching in Manila. So like it's 10 o'clock there, and I
No
bet there's
snow in Manila.
no snow in Manila. That's right. Anyways, yes. Welcome to Ask the Drummer. Episode 17 is all about you, Alex Pines. Um, and as always, I'm going to start from the very beginning.
Okay,
So you were born in Manchester,
that's right. Yep, a
and
very long time ago.
and grew up in Manchester as well. So is it always in Chiltern? Is it always you always live in
It's always
Chiltern?
been South Manchester, Whalley Range, Chorlton, those kind of areas. That's where my
Yeah.
family grew up, and I've lived in London and Leeds over the years, but came back to Manchester and to Chorlton and bought a house here and started a family.
Oh yeah. I mean Manchester. I mean the reason why I'm here because I've always wanted to be in Manchester. I think it's the best city in the world. I love Manchester. So
Certainly.
I've got my T-shirt on. It actually says honorary man. Really
How
cool.
long have you been here, Anna?
Uh, Over 25 years now.
Then do you know
So
you
yeah.
are an honorary man. You've seen the city change like we have.
Because right, growing up in Manchester, what was it like? Especially the music scene. I mean, this is really exciting for me because I've always wanted, I wish I grew up here, but so what was it like?
So I mean, do you know, I was born in 1968, way back in the 1960s, which sounds a hell of a long time ago, and kind of left school in 1984. and kind of when I was at school and growing up, the music scene in Manchester really, from my perspective, wasn't all that really. It was, you know, kind of a
Not,
lot of pub bands and club bands and that kind of thing. But what kind of changed it for me was hearing the Smiths, and I think
yeah,
that
yeah,
that really introduced me to a whole scene that was out there, and you know, a whole load of bands and places to hang out and venues to go to, and you know, you start reading the NME, and then you realise that there's a scene out there that you kind of want to be part of. So certainly from about 1984, I was starting to become more aware of a scene in Manchester.
yeah. I think that was the year when I was a teenager in Manila, 1984. That was the year that I learned about the Smiths as well, and that was when I've always wanted to come here because like Morrissey, hearing him sort of like heaven knows I'm miserable now. And so like girlfriend in a coma and all those things, and I'm like, oh my god, that place. That must be really amazing or something. So, did you go to a lot of gigs when you were a teenager, when you were young?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we kind of, I mean, the first gig I went to was the Police at the Birmingham NEC, but that was a big stadium gig. But I think, yeah, after that, there was so many little venues in Manchester that, you know, you did see a lot of gigs, and we had friends in bands that you used to go and support. And,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, there was quite a thriving scene of smaller clubs where those kind of bands could start off playing, even if it's just to their friends, and then build an audience from there and get, you know, bigger venues as you moved on.
yeah. Oh, so what got you into drumming?
So,
It's like-
so
I was like, what?
it was. I mean, I've been friends with the other guys from the Waltones, you know, since I was a kid. You know, our families have known each other for years, so I used to kind of hang around with them. And now they are a little bit older than me. Um,
Oh,
they we used to sit in Manny's front room at his mum's house and listen to his older brother's records and just kind of play along. And Mark had a guitar, and Manny was playing, I presume, some kind of rudimentary bass. And
right, yeah, yeah.
what was left, Anna, was the drums. So that's kind of what I started playing, and started playing the arm of a chair. To be
Right, so
honest,
you were kind of forced into playing the drum
it
because
was
this.
it was if I wanted to be in the band, then that was what I was going to do, because I couldn't sing. I've got
Oh,
no voice. So yeah, that was it really.
right. Before we continue, I just wanted to say hello to well, Aiden. Aiden the Rogue is my husband. Actually, he's just watching next door. And Jessel. I always sounds like Jess. It's Jessel Baltazar from Canada. He's saying hello as well. And Gilbert said that there's actually a song called "It Doesn't Snow in Manila." So
Right. Okay.
yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't. So anyway, so you all knew each other when you were young, because Mark's already got the guitar and Manny's got the bass, so you're of course. But was there any sort of like particular moment where, like you said, you there's only the drums left, but going to gigs and things, have you ever seen someone like a drummer that you said, "Oh, this is really good. That I wanted to do this as well." So, or have you seen like a show or a TV program like Top of the Pops or something?
Well, I kind of always used to watch the drummer. You know how you find yourself when you watch a band. I don't know anybody else, but I find myself watching individuals within a band,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
my
yeah,
eyes generally, excuse me, get drawn to the drummer. Um, you know, and I think in terms of the first drummer that had an impression on me, you know, I mentioned the first gig. It was Stuart Copeland from the Police,
from the Police. Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think you know, just because he was so phenomenal and is still so phenomenal, and that kind of the way he held the band together kind of 3-piece band, I was kind of struck by that at an early age. But I guess, in those days, it was, you went to a gig and you kind of just moshed around. You didn't really watch drummers or pick up much tips or anything like that. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
I think the
Well,
first, go on.
yeah. Sorry, go on, go on.
I think the first drum I started really thinking, I like the way this sounds and I like the way it works was uh, Andy Grocott, I think it is, from Dexy's Midnight Runners on the Searching for the Young Soul Rebels album. And I
All
think
right.
that's
What
basically
about
who I based my drumming style on, which is steady and
yeah?
quite loud.
What about Mike Joyce?
Yeah, Mike Joyce,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it was the Smiths as a whole, though, that really made the impression.
Yeah.
And we had a friend called Paul, who was part of our kind of group of friends, and his cousin was Johnny Marr. So we felt that kind of link. We felt the link into the Smiths already.
Oh wow.
But I think Mike Joyce came to watch an early Waltones gig at the Boardwalk. I think it was.
Yeah.
And I remember someone telling me that he thought I was a good drummer, which was good enough for me. They may have
Oh.
made it up, Anna, but just to boost my ego.
Oh.
But that was enough for me.
Oh,
Knows
that's
what Mike
brilliant.
knows anyway.
Well, did you have any drumming lessons, or were you just self-taught? Or...
No, I never had any drumming lessons, and I
Yeah.
probably should have had. We'd probably been a much more successful band, maybe. But I never had any drumming lessons when we were all together, kind of back in the 80s. When we decided to get back together for our 33 and a third reunion gig.
That's in 2017, isn't it?
I think it was. Thank
At,
you. Yeah,
at the Deaf Institute. Yeah, I
that's
was there.
right. The Deaf Institute. I remember you.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of left the band in the 89, 90, I think it was, and basically I didn't pick up a drumstick again for 30 years. So when we talked about doing a reunion gig, it was a case of, right, well, better learn how to play the drums again. And it's not like riding a bike, as any drummer would tell you. You do need to work at it. At least I do. So I had some lessons before that helped me a lot in terms of preparing for that one.
Oh wow! So it wasn't just. I mean, it's really funny because you'd think that it will be something that you've got it already, so like riding a bike, you
Me.
said, that once you hear your songs and then it just comes back to you, so like start doing it again. So
It did to a certain extent,
yeah,
but 30 years is a long time.
it's not, yeah. So
Things
you
get very rusty.
so you've always been in the Waltons. You didn't have any other bands before that.
No, it was like the Waltones, really. We were just a gang of friends that kind of formed a band.
Yeah.
We weren't necessarily individuals looking to join a band. It was just kind of what we did. And I've kind of always more enjoyed being in a band than being a drummer or being a musician, to be honest.
Right. It's just sort of like the camaraderie between the four
Yeah,
of
it's
you.
good
And
fun being a
yeah,
band, going to places
yeah,
that you wouldn't normally go to and
yeah,
doing things you wouldn't normally do, like this.
yeah. No, no, I'm really glad that you said yes to this one. So when I was sort of like doing my script, I always go to Google and sort of like look at, but there's not much information.
I'm quite glad
There's
about
not.
that.
I was all like thinking, I mean, I'm just gonna type in like Alex, like your name or the Waltons and things. I just can't find any apart from a little feature on Wikipedia. So I think it is good to actually ask you all these things. So, right, we've already told. Well, my next question is actually how did you form the Waltons? But you've already sort of like answered that one. I've read some when I was sort of like doing my research. There was
You
an
don't need to put it
enemy.
in inverted commas. I bet you did plenty of research, man.
That's like, it's not really, because some people sound like said to me, it's not really research if you're just googling or something. It's like just Google in there. But anyway, so there was an enemy review of your album, Deepest, by someone called Sarah Champion. That she described. I mean, she described the Waltones as ordinary as fish and chips, and as mundane as hoovering the carpet. Just
I remember Sarah. She was
think
great.
about.
She used to be able to damn you with faint praise.
I just thought, my God, is that really a description of the band? I mean, it's like there's nothing so like ordinary about the Waltons. I think the Waltons
I,
is
th-
special.
I think I know where she was coming from though, because we were quite ordinary. I mean, we were quite polite. We weren't very rock and roll. You know, we didn't strut around maybe like Stone Roses used to. You know, we were quite polite, well brought up middle class boys, and we still are to a great extent. You know, so I can kind of understand where she came from. We weren't, you know, snorting cocaine and wrecking
Yeah.
hotel rooms, Anna. We were, you know, tidying up dressing rooms after us before we left the venue.
Well, we talked about the Stone Roses because this is another thing that I found is you actually um gigged. It's not like the same bill as the Stone Roses in, is it 1989 or something at the
Something
International?
like that. It was something. I think
Yeah,
we played the international with them.
yeah. How was it? So what was it like? I mean, having the Stone Roses, oh my God, and then you like the Waltons as well.
I would imagine that would be a gig you would like to go to
Oh
now,
my
wouldn't it?
God, yeah.
It's a gig I'd like to go to now. So if Stone Roses are looking for a support band for their next tour, then please, you know, we can relive old days from the international.
um,
I,
yes,
it was great fun. I don't remember too much about it, to be honest. I remember it was absolutely packed out that night at the international, and Gareth, who used to run the club, was probably rubbing his hands with glee because it was heaving. Um,
yeah,
but I don't remember too much about the gig, to be honest. But like I say, if they want to, you know, have a reunion, happy
yeah.
to do that with the Roses.
Have the Waltons as one of the supports because they always have like at least three bands supporting. um, well, I found all these information from a website called Manchester Manchester Digital Music Archive. It's
Oh
actually
yeah,
for anyone, yeah, for anyone so like wanting to know more about Manchester music. I mean, incredible. It's an incredible website. You see all sorts of like gig guides and ticket stubs and enemy articles and all that. So, talking about that, Manchester Digital Music Archive. I also found out that you gig with the Icicle Works. That's
we
Ian
did.
McNabbs, and yeah,
I've got
yeah.
a post in the other room actually. I've got a poster from the High School Works gig that we did.
Wow. So what was that like? I mean, that's another gig that I would. I wish
I
I was
think
so like
I
that.
think without checking that was Exeter College in Oxford, I think, and it was great fun, and we had a really good laugh on that gig, both going down and playing the gig as well. It was thinking in the summer we played it, and it was a
Yeah.
nice day, and I think it was in a quadrangle for a college, so that was good. But do you know, and I'm sorry, I don't remember anything at
You
all about the Icicle Works.
know?
We probably didn't watch them, to be honest. We probably played our gig and then went and got drunk and had a game of football somewhere.
Well, they always say that if you don't remember something, that means it was good.
No, and there's very little I remember between kind of 1984 and 1990.
And another one. This is really strange because another was John Martin. Now, the reason why I picked this one out is because on Friday night, I think there was a documentary about John Martin on BBC. Is it BBC Two or BBC Four? And
Right. BBC
one of
Four, I think.
was it BBC Four? And one of my friends actually messaged me to say that I should watch it because apparently he's one of the best or the greatest guitarists ever. Um, but because I don't know very much about him, and I don't really, but I'm going to sort of like check him out. So what was your recollection, or what was that like with sort
Again,
of John Martin?
I'm going to have to disappoint you. I mean, I don't remember him. It was, I think that was a benefit gig for Greenpeace or
Yeah, yeah,
Amnesty. And you wouldn't necessarily put the Waltones and John Martin together on the same bill. I'm not sure we've got the same audiences, but I kind of just remember again, it was one of the bigger gigs that we'd played at that point. It was at I think the International 2, which was a bit bigger than
yeah,
the first one.
yeah,
And it was, a great experience of a big gig for us. The excitement of that, playing to a bigger audience, getting the music out there. But it was probably
yeah.
just really good fun, I would imagine.
Well, my next question again. I found this from this website. I hope you remember this, but there's a publicity photo of the Waltones. Um, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's actually the one I used to sort of like do the guest announcement, and someone uploaded it on the website, and it says everybody, like all the members of the Walton, signed it, but you signed it and you dedicated it to someone called Rachel, and apparently Rachel is the grooviest chick in the room. So do you remember that? Do you remember
I did.
Rachel at all?
I must admit I can't remember Rachel exactly, but I remember I think it was a gig at a club called Sinatra's in Birmingham. It was a back street kind of club that probably on Friday and Saturday nights had a
Yeah.
very different audience, but I think we were there on like a Wednesday night or something like that. And I think it was the only. I don't remember ever playing another gig in Birmingham. It's about the only gig we ever played
Oh,
in Britain's third city.
yeah, yeah. Well, the person who uploaded it is actually wondering how come it got inserted inside a 12-inch at deepest, and so like
See,
the and it,
you should know that working in King B Records.
but I mean, if it's someone say if it was dedicated to me, I keep it, I treasure it, like I'll guard it because it's like being also so like being called the grooviest chick in the Bronx. It's like something that I'm probably going to put on my wall or so like hang it or frame it or something. But so well, anyways, the person who actually uploaded it on the website was wondering what's happened to Rachel. So if Rachel is watching and if she's still out there, well, you know where to find or get your your
And
promo.
is she still groovy?
Yeah, if she's yeah, she's still groovy. But right, anyway, so going back to the Waltones, according to Wikipedia, you changed the name. The band's name was changed to Candlestick Park.
The band changed to Candlestick Park after I'd left, Anna. So I left, I think, in maybe 1990, late 89, 90.
Why? Why did you leave?
Um,
No, it's not why.
I think the kind of band were moving on past what I wanted to do as a musician. I think at that point, we'd recorded an album in London that hadn't been much fun. I don't think we were supposed to be living down there for seemed a long time. Can't remember how long it was now, but it was in 3 or 4 weeks, I think. And then we had problems with the record company, and the album just failed to come out for quite a long time. So we were kind of sat twiddling our thumbs a little bit, and I kind of moved on really in terms of wanting to move on with my life and leave the band behind. I mean, I've been there 5 or 6 years, and plus probably a little bit more. So I think it was after I had left the band that the band then changed the name to Candlestick Park, which I think is a great name.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think the drummer who replaced me in the band is a guy called Adi, who I went to school with, and who I went to see the Police at the NEC with back in like 1982 or something like that. On the Synchronicity tour, anyway. Top man, Adi Donahue.
So the 12-inch that Candlestick Park released, I think it's called, because I was sort of like checking Discogs for it, and also I checked YouTube for it. And it's a brilliant song. It's called All the Time in the World. So you didn't drum on that one, or?
No, like I say, no, that was after I'd left.
Yeah.
It's got a great cover, that 12-inch.
Yeah. And also, apparently there's a whole album called Reinvent the Wheel, but it's never released because the label company went bankrupt and stuff. So, what's happened to it? Or you didn't play on that one, so you probably...
I played on some of it, yeah. I don't know. It's one of the great lost records of rock and roll history, that one. I'm not sure where the master tapes would be. I think James might have some of them, but no, I'm not sure where they are. That was the way it was in those days.
Yeah. Is there there's quite a lot of sort of like bands, especially from the 80s, that actually releasing or re-releasing their albums from before, or say that it never got released. So there are companies like, say, Fire Station Records or a Turntable Friends who will do it, will release it for you. Is that something that maybe you'd like, or the Waltones to do?
It's certainly something we'd look into. Yeah, I've it's not something we've looked into in any detail, but certainly if they're out there, they it would be good to hear them. I think in terms of new stuff, we were last together at Shine, and hopefully getting together with James and Manny before Christmas to just do a little run through of some new material that they've been working on.
Oh, that's brilliant! Yeah, because Jessel from Canada, he's actually asked any plans of recording again for the Waltones.
I think yes is the simple answer. I think maybe next year we'd like to do some stuff, record it. I think things have changed a lot since the last time we were in the studio, so it'll be an interesting experience. But yeah, I think Manny, certainly he's got some. He's bursting with new songs. So him and James have got a couple that we just had a quick play with, I suppose, just before Shine. Yeah, probably work on those again, and maybe work up something in the new year for maybe an EP that we'd look to release.
Wow! Oh my God, that's so exciting! And you still have you still have Mark Collins, even though he's sort of like he's touring with the Charlatans at the moment, isn't he?
They're doing a UK tour at the moment. Yeah, I think not quite sure where they are tonight. Hopefully, Mark's got a night off or an afternoon off to watch the football. But yeah, I mean, in terms of recording and in terms of gigs, we kind of fit in with Mark's schedule really, because he's about the busiest out of the lot of us, apart from those of us who are earning a real living doing a proper job. So I think we try and pencil some stuff in advance. I think certainly next year we'd like to do some recording. I think maybe a maybe possibly another gig next year. I don't know.
Oh,
See how it
that would be
goes.
really really good. Not just one, but like a series, okay, like a
Well, it
tour.
was nice. It was nice to see our old friends, the Chesterfields, at Shine again. So it would be
Yeah.
it'd be good fun to do something down there in around Sherborne Way with them. So maybe a festival down there that they mentioned. I don't know.
Oh, brilliant. But so, Mark Collins being so like the
Such a
busiest.
rock and roll god.
So, that's really so like I think that's really sweet of him that he's still with the Waltones, even though he's busy with the charlatans.
It is
Is
very
there
sweet
so?
of him. Yeah, I mean, I think I never expected really a reunion of the band at all. Even though there was no falling out or anything, and I used to see all three of them on a regular basis, but it was never something we talked about. And then I think you'll have to ask Mark next time you see him, but I don't know quite what prompted him and Manny to think about it. But I think Mark's idea was that it was 33 and a third
And
years
it's
since I can't remember, since we released something or other.
yeah.
So, and it was good. It was good fun getting back together as mates again, because even though we do see each other now and again, and some of us more than others, but being in a band together again, it's there's a special dynamic there, and it's been good
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, well, that was 2017 when you got back together. That gig at the Deaf Institute, that was just really really good, and it was
That was
packed.
awesome.
And it was yeah, and there's a video. I think somebody filmed it, and it's still out there. If anyone so like wanting to see what it
It's on
was
our
like,
Facebook page. Yeah, it's on
it's
our
on the
Facebook page.
yeah. I'm gonna sort of like put it later after this one. Um, so that was like you said, the first gig after 33 and a third years. The merchandise was amazing as well. All those patches.
That was
All
James. James got the badges done. I got the t-shirts done.
yeah. But it's just a shame though that after that it took 2 years because it's
So
not until after
I
yeah,
think we're
not until after sorry,
averaging
yeah.
one gig a year. So I think we had the Deaf Institute gig. Then we did a very short set at Tim Peake's coffee shop in Kendal Corlin.
Oh,
And
I missed
then
that one. That's a shame.
it was the day the hot summer of 2018 came to an end, and it absolutely poured it down up at Kendal. But it was good fun, and
Yeah,
that was a really really lovely place to play. And then the third one we did was with our old friends, the Chesterfields, at
Chesterfield.
the 100 Club in London, and you were
And
at that one.
I was there. That's why. That's why I didn't realize that there was a 2018 one. I must have saw like Kendall Calling is actually a bit difficult for me to get to, anyways, because
Yeah.
it's one of those festivals that it's not like Shine On. I mean, Shine On is a lot easier for me, but yeah, that's why I missed it. So
But just
well,
in terms of videos, I wanted to say thank you to you for the videos that you've provided of the Shine On, and I think you did some video
oh,
at 100 Club as well. And it's just
yeah.
great to have that. It's really nice. Thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish I could just like video the whole like set, but I can't.
You've got to watch
I
it and
haven't got,
enjoy it.
I haven't got proper equipment for it as well. So yeah, well, I do enjoy it anyway. So I'm not one of those all like yay. But anyway, so yeah, when the Chesterfields played at night and day 2 years ago, you were there.
I
You and
was.
James. Yeah, you and James were there. I was so like really surprised because I did ask you, how come you didn't play in your hometown? It was like you're supposed. And the following day, I went to London to actually see you because you played in London instead of Manchester. So
We we would have loved to have gone round with the Chesterfields, but I think the reality of it is, I mean, Manny's a teacher. I kind of work in a proper job, and Mark's in the charlatans, so we don't have the time for it really. So the only one we really had the time for, and was the London one that we could really get Mark on for. I think it
Right.
was in the September, and it
Yeah.
was funny. I just I only came across it recently. Was just a clip of video clip of the Charlatans doing One to Another at Glastonbury in 2019, and it was only a few weeks before Mark joined us at the 100 Club for that gig, and you just look at him, he was such a rock god on that main stage at Glastonbury, One to Another. Just you kind of got to take your hat off him, take your hat off to him rather.
Well, talk about night and day. I don't know if you've seen the news.
About
Um,
the noise abatement.
yeah, that's really sort of like, I don't know. I don't know if you've signed a petition, but I haven't. I
Yeah.
just think it's a bit ridiculous. You're moving to a place like that near um
Well, I think
the
that's a
music
problem
venue.
across the country, and it's a problem in Stockport that I know about.
Who is there?
In terms of what we want in our town and city centres is kind of life and animation and people kind of enjoying themselves and
Yeah,
spending some money. And I think if you move into a town or a city centre, you kind of know what you're getting really. So I think unless there are massive extenuating circumstances, like I say, you have to understand the environment you're moving into, which is, the kind of thing that draws us all into these towns and cities and
yeah.
makes life worth living sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, if I had the money, I would have loved to sort of like live next door to night and day, and then sort of like just go to every single gig that they've got in there because it's such a brilliant venue. I really love going there.
And
But
it's been
they,
around for so long. It's been around
yeah,
for so long. It's been
well,
around since,
well, they've
since I
celebrated
was
30
young.
years. I think there was 30 years birthday celebration last night.
I
But
don't think we ever played in there, but I've got a friend who's a DJ, part of Love Duck, and he's a big fan. So it's it's just one of another challenge for town centre bars and clubs and restaurants.
yeah,
It's really tough times for those people. And, hats off to those people who are still trying.
yeah, Chiltern is actually quite nice. I mean, the only time I've been there for an event is, Electric.
I do.
There's a bar called Electric. They do
Yeah.
like turntable nights sometimes.
I
And
think I saw Tom Hingley in there.
oh, but did he actually
Long-
play, or was he just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like?
No, no, playing a long time ago now.
Oh right, because Corinne Drury from Swing Out Sister,
Yeah.
I saw her there. She's doing this turntable thing, and also uh, oh my god, Kevin Rowland from Dexys.
What, you
That's
saw him in Electric?
yeah, yeah, he was there, like just doing sort of like a DJ set, because they do that. I think there was one time Manny was also doing a DJ set, but unfortunately, I think I went to a gig somewhere that I didn't get a chance to see him there. But yeah, it's one of those. I love going to Electric because they always seem to have like like big names going in there for a
And
DJ.
again, it's been there quite a while now, and it's got
Yeah.
it's well established. But you're always at gigs anyway, Anna. You never have time for anything else.
Yeah. Well, any chance of so like the Waltones doing a DJ, so like a DJ set, Electric, that would be really really good.
I
And
think
being
James is the man for that.
yeah,
James loves his records. I mean, we always used to come on stage, and that's the last song that the DJ played was "Look at Sally Run," an old Motown song. So James will be your man for a DJ set.
all right. Well, James used to have this acoustic thing in Stratford. I think Stratford Ship Club or
Yep,
something. He
Stretford
used to
Youth
do
Club.
that.
They were playing
Yeah.
at the Christmas opening yesterday. I tried to get down, but I was too late.
Oh, oh. I need to keep an eye out more from more of his acoustic gigs and stuff because it would be nice because I might see you there because knowing now that you're actually just you all of you are just in this Stratford Chorlton area.
We are within a stone's throw of each other.
Yeah. I've got another question from Jessel. He's the guy from Canada.
Hi,
Uh, he
Canada.
said, he said, any recollections on the early days working with the late Andy Wake in Medium Cool?
Yeah, lots of recollections of Andy. Andy was he was the founder and driving force behind Medium Cool Records, and he gave us our first record deal. But even after all that had finished, I lived with Andy in Salford for a few years and was very close to him. And Andy was great. He was so full of enthusiasm for the music, and he had that little bit of business savvy about him as well. So he was just he was responsible, really, I think, for the fledgling success that the band had, and I think it was his kind of drive that got us things like a little tour of Switzerland and a tour of Spain and things like that are the kind of
Wow.
things that I remember from being in the band. And I think a lot of it was down to the drive and the savviness of Andy Wake.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's well missed.
Yeah, well, Jessel is actually I consider him as one of the indie master because he just knows a lot about indie music. I mean, he's from the Philippines as well, just like me, but he now lives in Canada. Um, you said before that when you go to gigs, do you still go to a lot of gigs or
No,
not?
not
Not
many,
really.
not many. The last gig I went to was
Shine on.
uh, it was a singer daughter of a friend of mine called Isabelle Brown, who's a soul singer who's starting to kind of make some noise. Really, it's she supported Lauryn Hill on tour. I saw her
Oh,
in Brighton. She was great. Before that, it was I saw her again with the Black Pumas. Do you know them? Black Pumas? No.
no. I'll Google. I like googling, so
Google Black
I'll check
Pumas.
them
Good. And,
out.
and, and Isabelle Brown, she's very nice. Nice sound.
Yeah. Well, you said earlier that you actually look at the drummer because I do that whenever I go to a gig. I always try and get there early because I wanted to make sure that I've got a good view of the drummer. Because they always
Well, they're the hardest working member of the band. Nobody else uses all four limbs.
and they don't get much I mean, I shouldn't say credit, but it's that's why I started this podcast is because most podcasts or most interviews they always ask for the singer or the guitarist, but they rarely ask for the drummer. So I thought I should just really go for the drummer. I just love the way the drummers play like you play. And I think you'll find that most of my videos are actually zooming in, zooming in on the drummer.
Well, like I say, the hardest working in the band. I mean, I think the drummer really should be shouldn't be that noticeable. I think it's got to be kind of driving the song along. But I think it's for the guitars and the singer to get all fancy and give us the flourishes really most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like the bass; you've got to provide that solid backline, and then anything else is a bonus.
I thought you were going to say that the drummer should be at the front.
No, God, no! I'm more than happy sat at the back.
Because when I saw you at Shine On, you were actually, I don't know if you're concentrating too much or you look like "Oh my God, is he happy being there?" Because you look so serious.
It's a serious business, drumming. It's a
It
serious
is.
business when you're as useless as I am.
Oh.
No, I do find I do have to concentrate. Some people find it comes easily, and they can. I'm full of admiration for drummers who can sing at the same time. To be able to do that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
And
I
twirl? Do you
and
twirl?
twirl. I've never been a twirler, Anna. I've never been a twirler. We're actually sat now in my cellar, which is where I have the drums and where we kind of meet, kind of for occasional rehearsals. So kind of I need to set it up again because I've not set the kit up again since I took bits down to take to Shine. So I'll do that again. But I'm certainly not a twirler.
I think with of the band members, I mean, it's the drummer who's got the most sort of like things to sort of like put. What do you call it? Like when you go there, you've got all these sort of like equipment that you need to set up, and then you have to
Absolutely.
take them all down as well after.
And that was the problem with Shine, to be honest, because kind of brought my own snare and cymbals and hi hats, and we had to change them, put them on, and then take them off. So as soon as we had finished the gig, you don't walk off to rapturous applause and backstage. You have to take your drum kit to pieces again, right in front of the audience who've just applauded you. So didn't feel very rock and roll, but it was still a good fun experience that weekend.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, Jessel said that that could be the name of the new EP. I've never been a twirler.
Never been a twirler.
Well, think about that.
Picture of me fumbling drumsticks.
But do you have any drumming heroes?
Um, I suppose apart from John Rowlands of the Bodines, he's drumming hero of mine. The way he used to the speed he drummed and the slickness of some of his rolls.
Yeah,
Do you know, like I said, Stuart Copeland was the first drummer that I kind of really noticed, and certainly wouldn't even dream of emulating, but kind of just enjoyed him as a drummer. I mean, when I was kind of first starting to play the drums, my dad, God bless him, used to play me like Buddy Rich solos and things like that, and it was, oh no, I'm never going to be like that. And then, like I say, really the first kind of drumming that I felt that I was going to emulate because it was simple and steady and I enjoyed it was Andy Stoker from Dexys.
right?
So I think, in terms of drumming heroes, I think, anybody who can play the drums really well without thinking about it. I know drummers who can just, they just sit on a kit, give a load of licks, and
Yeah,
it just sounds so impressive. And I just think, that the level of dedication you need to put into doing that every day and just practicing on your own, because there's very little that's as boring as practicing the drums. Maybe practicing the bass on your own, that's a bit boring as well. But, at least with the guitar, you can play tunes. Practicing drums on your own is no fun. So any good drummer, that's my hero.
Rennie.
Rennie,
Rennie.
absolute unbelievable
Yeah,
drummer.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he sings as well. He's got such a great voice. Yeah, and anyone who can twirl.
I bet he can twirl as well. I bet he can twirl with the best of them, Rennie. Well,
You
he
mentioned
earns
that.
the right. He earns the right because he's just quality and he keeps the beat.
Yeah. You mentioned the Bodines. Are you friends with the Bodines,
I
or
am,
are you,
yeah. I'm good friends with John from the Bodines.
and where are they? Where are they now? I mean, are they not going to do like a reunion? I'd love to sort of like see the Bodines.
I would love to be able to announce that the Bodines are doing a reunion, but I can't. We do whinge on to him occasionally at times about it, and it would be great. I think we'd certainly do a gig with them if we could. because we had fun back in the day, and still friends now. So 30 odd
Yeah.
years later, so it'd be great to see them again. But that's their business in a way. The dynamics of a band are always different in every band, aren't they? And
Yeah.
I don't know the dynamics of the Bodines, but I do know they put out some great stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. The Filipinos love the Bodines as well. I mean, just like the Waltones. I mean, it's crazy that um the amount of like the number of bands
and I
that
saw you
we
had the
love.
chap from the Railway Children on as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, Guy Keegan. Yeah,
Guy,
yeah.
Guy.
He's lovely. I mean, he really is really nice. Um, you're also friends with the Railway Children, or
Not
you
really. No,
saw
I mean we
Guy?
played with them back in the day. I think at the Boardwalk once or
Yeah,
twice, and we knew their manager. Um, but we were just kind of part of that scene, and there was a little bit of rivalry, but really not too much. And
yeah,
we
yeah.
kind of followed each other around different venues around the country.
Right. Well, if you if you want to put a word to the Bodine's drummer, if he wants to if he wants to get on the show, I'd be so delighted. I'd be really happy to have him here because,
I'll
like I
mention
said,
it to him.
yeah,
He's not
like
as
I said,
friendly as me though, Anna. So,
oh, is
but no, we'll
it?
try and get them back together first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember there was one time I went to a gig in Manchester. It's to see the Pop Guns.
Oh yeah.
And one of my friends actually played a trick on me, so introduced me because you know what I'm like with musicians and especially drummers. But one of them actually played a trick on me, introduced me to someone apparently because in the Philippines when we don't really know the people or the musicians involved in
Yeah.
bands. And we've not seen them and things, especially now after 30, 40 years. So he said that this guy, he introduced me to this guy. He said that he was in the Bodines, and I was like, oh my god. But I thought it was really strange because when I was asking him about the gigs, and they would I think they did a gig with the Smiths as well, or something like that. He just kept saying, "Oh, it was a long time ago. It was in the past," and things like that. So I thought it was a bit
Could have been
strange.
John, to be honest, that in terms of him talking like that. But yeah, get him a couple of drinks and start telling you some stories from back then.
Oh, we've just got Guy Keegan actually saying hello. So there you are. So the drummer from the Railway Children. But anyway, so
Hot, sweaty evenings playing gigs in the boardwalk together, I'm sure.
um, have you had any drumming disasters? Because last was it Saturday? No, not yeah, last Saturday. Oh no, last Friday. I went to see a band, and I spoke to the drummer, and she actually hurt herself. She cut herself or something. I was like, oh my god. I mean, it must be. So, have you ever had that thing? Where you're drumming too hard that you cut yourself, or maybe
I think,
or
I mean,
anything
you
at all?
speak to some of the certain members of the band, they'd probably say my drumming's a disaster all round. But no, I've never really hurt myself drumming. I remember, I think it may have been at Aberystwyth University once. I was on a drum riser, so you had the stage, and then there was a drum riser, and then the kit sat on that. And I think as I was playing, my stool, the back leg of my stool fell off the back, and I fell backwards. Thinking,
No.
yeah, so that was hard work. I used to have a bass
Oh,
drum. I used to have a bass drum that used to move forward when you played it. So throughout the gig, you'd having to be stretch your leg out to try and reach the bass drum, and then pulling it back between songs.
well, I remember when I went to Preston Pop Fest. Adam Holford from the Train set, that happened to him. And so
Did it?
yeah, it's kept going. I think it's because they didn't because it's like in such it's in a small room, and I think the floor is a bit shiny, so
That's it. Slippy floor, disaster. So that
yeah.
kind of thing, dropping drumsticks, breaking drumsticks, that kind of thing. But never hurt myself. So no disastrous
Oh no,
incidents like
that's good.
that.
That's good.
Touch wood.
Yeah. Well, I've got another friend, Dubia Frederick, who's from California. He's got a question. Do you enjoy playing cover songs?
Hi, California. I hope you're well over there. We used to do. I mean, we started doing cover songs. That's how we started in Manny's front room, playing along to Beatles songs and Holly's songs and that kind of thing. So we there was definitely we used to do Back in the USSR by the Beatles quite regularly at gigs. We did the Odd Rolling Stones song. We've done a couple of Holly songs as cover versions.
Well,
So yeah, I mean it's always good fun. Gonna give it the Waltones sound. I think
yeah.
Manny's talking about doing a cover version of a Christmas Beach Boys song. I think that'll be quite interesting.
Do a cover of the Charlatan song, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of busman's holiday for Mark. Then Mark
Yeah.
doesn't want to come to the Waltones and have to kind of do his day job.
Do
Really,
yeah, yeah, it's true.
he gets to do the real twiddly stuff with us.
Well, I've only got one more question for you. So it's like any advice that you can tell any aspiring drummers out there?
Aspiring drummers. I mean, don't worry about spending a load of money on your first kit. Just get yourself, a cheap kit, and get started with it. Really, people kind of think about, oh, I'd love to play the drums. Think, just buy yourself a cheap kit. You can get really cheap electronic kits these days that are great for just playing yourself. And I think, in terms of actually learning to play, do things slowly. Play things slowly. Just understand the kind of patterns slowly, and then build your speed up as you kind of get better. But practice every day. That would be my advice. It's not one I practice myself, but that would be the advice I'd give. And
Even
enjoy
though,
it, and really let
yeah,
yourself go with it sometimes, because you can only play it properly if you kind of let yourself go. So enjoy it and let yourself go.
yeah. Well, Jessel said that he'd love to hear those Waltones covers and practice sessions. If you have any videos out there, that way maybe you could sort of like upload it on the Facebook page or something.
I will ask James. He's our kind of main archivist for the band, because he's a hoarder, a real hoarder. So I'll ask him what he might have. If I Needed Someone was one that we used to do a lot. Holly's song, If I Needed Someone. And I think we did a cover version at Deaf Institute as an encore.
I don't remember. I don't remember the set list now. I'm just sort of like thinking whether did I get a copy of the set list or something? Maybe not.
Oh, no, we'll make sure you get one next time, Anna, because I think
Yeah.
if you do a gig in Manchester again, I think Deaf Institute would be a good venue, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's really good. Well, I've got another question. It's actually so like I told you that there's not much technical drumming questions when at the interview,
All
but
right, yeah.
unless I get like our friends asking you, and this is one of them. What are your goals as a drummer, and in what areas of drumming would you like to improve upon?
My goals as a drummer is not to make a fool out of myself and let the band down, basically. I think
Oh,
because
wait,
as a
cool.
drummer, if a guitarist or the bass player or the singer sings a bum note or the guitarist plays a wrong chord, it's just slight and it's over and nobody really notices. But when the drummer makes a mistake, you can generally notice a mile away. So I think the first the baseline of my performance is not to make any mistakes. I think in terms of techniques that I would love to improve upon, my independence, that's something I work on quite a lot, and my timing. I think, if you can work on independence and timing, and if you're a drummer there's loads of exercises you can get out there. But I think, to be honest, I think the best advice, going back to your earlier question, I'd give to a drummer is to get lessons. Have a lesson from someone who knows what they're doing, who's a better drummer than you, because there's always a better drummer than you out there, no matter how good you are.
Yeah.
And get lessons, because that really helps.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
That's
so
all right.
much.
It's been lovely to speak to everyone from California to Canada to Manila.
To Manila,
It's been
yeah, that's
beautiful.
and Wigan, Guy Keegan,
And Wigan. I'd
and
rather speak to you like this than actually have to speak to you in person in Wigan. It's a lovely place, but it's a nightmare to get to.
Oh, thank you so much, Alex. I really, really enjoyed talking to
Oh,
you
good.
and
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you. I'll let you know when the next gig is.
yeah, I hope you enjoyed the chat as well. And thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank
No,
you.
thanks a lot.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye. Oh my God, that was so good. Thank you. Thank you so much once again for joining me live on Ask the Drummer. He's brilliant. Oh my God. I love the Waltones. And I'm really looking forward to new material from them for next year. But anyways, I just wanted to say that next month it's December. It's sort of like Christmas season, and I've actually got quite an amazing lineup for Christmas. So do keep an eye out for the guest announcement posts on the Facebook page, and because I think it's going to be really, really awesome right from the first Sunday of December. And I think it's a bit early to wish you all a happy Christmas because it's only still November, but and also it's really not Christmas unless Naughty Holder said so. Anyways, thank you so much once again for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and love music, love life, and remember to always love, love, love drummers because they're just so awesome. And see you all again next Sunday. Bye.